How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTCReaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading when the price is going up or down. Over on Dixie for the daily, it does look like we are trying to break through this previous consolidation range from that previous bear market, so if we can break above this, that would be positive for the dollar index and possibly negative for Bitcoin. But Bitcoin is trying to pump up a little bit at the end of the day, so maybe we start seeing some correlation now that the Fed rate news is actually being seen as a good thing, because we got a rate decrease, meaning keen risky assets is more attractive. We do have a higher high with a higher low. They do not connect, so this rising channel is maybe invalidated at this point. I would again watch for that rejection around that 109 that could still carve one out. Stochastic does want to round away. Momentum is rounding. VWAP does have a shorter high and is starting to get a slightly lower low, but we want to bounce off that neutral. If that VWAP can continue to bounce, momentum will remain bullish, money flow will remain green, and we will continue forward. But if that VWAP ends up breaking down, there is a higher probability of falling according to the NPP, and the NPP does say we could have a drastic fall down there, or a fall more toward the 106. A fall toward that 106 could end up being a slippery slope though. But if we stay within this rising high and we get bounced there, we could still get a higher low, then continue for a higher high here. So I would watch the lower time frames and watch for that 106 to hold if we do start to break this zone. If we do not break this zone, then I would watch for a push up toward that 109 area more immediately. But right now, it does look like things are leaning a little bit more toward us seeing a little bit of a pullback and possibly knock in that full 109, because that would be dependent on this current break forward, and our current break forward does look like we're losing some steam, potentially making a lower high. Momentum does want to push down, stochastic is weakening, and that VWAP is in the bearish territory. Remember, if we make a lower high with a lower low here, we could get a bearish continuation, and that could retrace our bullish momentum. So this could just be a temporary pump up if that VWAP ends up remaining in this bearish territory and we break that support level and we do not make a bounce off that 106. So over on Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing a bit of a break of that value area high. If we continue below this value area high, that will be positive for our altcoins, because remember, as Bitcoin dominance weakens, our altcoins will run up or down against Bitcoin. Down meaning they would gain less than or lose less than Bitcoin, up meaning they would gain more than Bitcoin. So they could either gain like 2% to Bitcoin's 1% or lose 0.5% to Bitcoin's 1%. Our stochastic does want to round away. RSI is starting to pull back. Momentum wants to round with the red dot. VWAP is breaking down and money flow is starting to round. So again, dominance does look like we're starting to weaken here. And if we see further red candles, we could continue to see total push up if total continues to see bullish indicators and bullish momentum. Over on total, I would watch that 1 trillion still. That could be a sticking point. If we don't make higher highs with higher lows there, then we could end up breaking away. But if we push up there, pull back to that 936 and then continue from there, we could see a bullish continuation form and start to see a run up. That VWAP does want to break that neutral. Momentum is starting to round forward. Money flows in the green. Stochastic is running up and RSI is starting to gain strength, so we do look positive as long as our lower time frames can continue that positivity. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a higher high with a higher low, so we are trying to create a bullish continuation. The highs and lows, I'd say, would not connect very well to make a rising channel, and that's positive because remember, a rising channel does end up breaking you down. Momentum does want to round. VWAP is starting to push down, so watch that VWAP close. If it breaks that neutral, momentum will crash down, money flow will remain red, and we would break down. However, if that VWAP does get a bounce here, that money flow likely will break green, and if it holds green for several hours, higher time frames will gain strength. There is a high probability of pushing near that 1 trillion. So again, watch for a break of that. If we can either hit that and consolidate or break it and consolidate, then we could continue forward and see further bullish momentum. Over on Bitcoin futures, we do look like we do want to push up. So if Bitcoin future says we could push to 151k, that's quite the run up. That is a new probability though, so err on the side of caution, but I would say that's our max breakout currently according to the MPP. And remember that MPP is using historical analysis, So it says this is based on some ratios as calculating. If you want more information on this, dig a little deeper in it. We will make a video shortly. That way we can cover the information for you on this channel. VWAP does want to push up, momentum is trying to gain strength, stochastic does want to bounce forward, and money flow is in the green. So we do look positive on the daily, providing that VWAP can continue to gain strength. Over on the 1 hour, we do have an attempt to break forward. We did reject, so I would watch this descending channel. I would say is pretty played out at this point. It's not going either way. We do have a gap to the upside though, so I would exercise caution because remember, gaps do have an 80% likelihood to fill, and that means we could end up pulling back. And if we pull back in this range, then it's likely we would revisit that 86-80K range, and then we could continue lower if we're not careful. But if we continue forward from here, leaving that gap behind and not breaking below, I'd say 94K, we could come back, fill that gap, and make a bounce. That would be positive, giving us a higher low. Then we would need continued higher highs that do not connect to push us up. Maybe that makes an inverted head and shoulders that pushes us forward, possibly toward that 102 area for a retest. But we will have to analyze as we get there. VWAP does want to push up, momentum wants to gain strength, and money flow is trying to break green. So we do look very positive, providing that VWAP can stay bullish here. Over on Bitcoin, we will hop over to the daily. We're going to probably have very similar things. So we have 112K as our probability, but there's only a 14% chance. So less than futures chance for that 151K. Our stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is starting to weaken, VWAP does want to pull back, and momentum is pulling back. So overall, the daily does look like we are starting to weaken, and I would watch, but we did hold our support level. We do have an indecision candle, and if followed by a strong green candle, could create a rounded bottom to push us forward, possibly making an inverted head and shoulder on this daily as well. So over on the 1 hour, we do look like we do want to continue forward. According to the MPP, it does say from here we could continue up, but there was a 75% chance of making a lower high. So watch for a red candle. If we get a red candle here, we will possibly break that support level, a 47% chance of it, and then continue lower. There's a higher chance of pushing to 89K. So if we break that support level, like I said on the daily on futures, then we will continue lower, possibly toward that 86-80K range if we don't hold some support around there. I would watch the max break up. If we make higher highs with higher lows, would be 102K according to the MPP, but that's only a 25% chance. It's betting higher on rejecting here, so I would exercise caution. Stochastic does want to push up, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum is pushing up, and money flow is pushing forward. I'd like to say if total is going to continue higher, then Bitcoin likely would follow, so keep that in mind as well. The MPP isn't going to take that into consideration, so that's why you don't just go with what an indicator says, because there are things indicators don't take into consideration. Over on graph for the 1 hour, we do look like we have a rounding bottom forming, so this is very positive. We had that indecisive candle with a strong green candle. That's what we're saying to watch for on Bitcoin, and if followed by a green candle, we could get confirmation to break that 26,424 and then possibly continue to our 30-cent range. VWAP does want to break up, momentum does have a double green dot, money flow is in the green, and stochastic does want to bounce, causing RSI to lead price higher. So that is pretty positive. If those lower timeframes continue in bullish territory, we will see those higher timeframes push us up here. Over on the 1 hour though, it does look like we have a 58% chance of making a higher low, possibly continuing higher from there, and then that's where we would start to push to that 26. Our momentum is pushing up. VWAP does have higher highs with higher lows, so we have a bullish trend. If our bullish trend can continue, momentum will remain in the bullish territory, money flow can break up, and higher timeframes can run up. But if that VWAP ends up breaking down, momentum could start to retrace and money flow is still in the red, so we would still have a chance of rejecting here. So I would exercise caution on that. But if the rest of the market pushes up, it's likely graph would as well, as most of the market pretty much pushed together. So over on Anchor for the daily, we did get a little bit extra on graph and Anchor. There were points where I believe they were some of the only winners, but things went back and forth today. So over on Anchor for the daily, we are trying to break that 37.60 range, so I would watch if we can break that and hold. That would be positive. RSI wants to push up, money flow is pushing up, momentum has a green dot, and VWAP is breaking bullish. So overall, the daily does look positive to continue higher, and it does say we have a high chance of pushing to that 8-cent area. So I would watch though. Remember, we do have several resistances to overcome in order to get to that 8-cent area. So it's not like we're just going to get there right away. I mean, we could see a really quick run, but that's not the most likely scenario. Stochastic does want to run up, momentum is gaining strength, VWAP is pushing forward, and the money flow does want to break through. So if that VWAP stays bullish, we likely will see money flow flip back into the green, and if it holds in green, we will break our resistance area, and that's where we would continue forward. But if that VWAP rejects here, there is a possibility we do pull back. The MPP does say 35 cents, so if we pull back, hit 35 cents, and continue lower, we could continue down toward 3 cents, sorry. So we could end up breaking down to that 3-cent mark. If we end up pushing up above that 3.5-cent area, then we can break that 3.7 and then continue forward to that 4-cent and then continue higher to that 5-cent. And then I would say, I think that was the 6-cent on the daily. I accidentally said 60 cent. Apparently I couldn't read today, so 8 cents. So we could push up to that 8-cent area, providing we continue bullish momentum on those lower time frames. Over on XRP for the daily, we do see that we did break through our pattern, but we are holding. This could be positive, but we need a strong green candle to confirm that positivity and push us forward. There is a 50% chance we push to about that 250. That would be in line with this pattern we drew the other day. RSI wants to push up, momentum wants to overall push down, but VWAP is gaining strength. If VWAP can break neutral and hold, momentum will push forward, money flow will remain green, and we will see those pushes up. And there is a new probability of hitting that $3 mark again, so that would be positive for that continuation to like that 380 range. So over on the 1 hour, I believe we were saying there should have been a double bottom here. So if we do not continue forward soon, that double bottom could be invalidated, but that MPP does still say we could get in that range. I would watch here. The MPP on the 1 hour says we could hit to the 232. If we continue with higher highs and higher lows there, that's where we would see further break up. But if we see a rejection there, I would watch as we could start to pull back, retest our $2 if we end up breaking this 216, and then potentially slide away. Our stochastic does want to round, momentum is running up, VWAP is bullish with higher highs and higher lows, so that is pushing momentum and money flow further. If that remains bullish, then we will continue higher and continue to push up as higher time frames will start to gain strength once that green money flow is held for several hours. Remember, it's not going to happen right away unless you get the 1, 2, and 4 hour all flashing green at the same time. Then you could have a strong green God candle out of nowhere. So over on the 1 hour, our side does want to push up for algo, money flow is pushing forward, VWAP is gaining strength, momentum does want to round with a green dot, so we do look positive to continue higher, and that money flow could continue up as well. Over on the 1 hour, it does look like we do have higher highs with higher lows, so we do want to see a bullish continuation. This could be a rising triangle, so if we draw from here to here, then you use that resistance area as your trend line there. You would draw from here to here. So that would be your pole. And then you apply that up. That would be a break to around that 45-cent range. Like we said yesterday, that would be likely the range we would break through once we break through that 37. Momentum does want to push up. VWAP is bullish, so watch for it to bounce off neutral. If it does, momentum will lead money flow into the green. That'll strengthen higher time frames, and then we could continue beyond the 45 as long as those higher time frames and lower time frames remain in the green with confluence. Remember, that means together. So we need everything to be bullish together in order to run up. Right now, the daily looks good. 2 hours trying to flash green. 4 hour is in the red. But if that 1 hour holds green for several hours, that 4 hour could start to push up. This is the same for all our coins. Then we could see strong green candles. So again, watch for the next few hours. If we push forward, then we could start to see some strong green candles over the next few days. Thank you for watching tonight's video. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, join us in the Discord. It's all free.